And I'm going to ask you to stand, and if you can, and JP is going to lead us in the pledge. And remember to mute yourself now so that we all don't hear you saying the pledge.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Yeehaw.
Okay, now it's time to welcome and introduce our guests. Do we have any guests today? I don't see any, but I don't see any guests right now. Okay, well, okay. And we don't have any birthdays today.
Yes, we do.
We do? Oh,
David Mann's birthday was yesterday.
oh, okay. I should have announced that last week. But anyway, happy birthday.
Thank you. David, they just said happy birthday to you.
Okay. For announcements, I want to remind you about casino night. We had a meeting last Friday night, and we're going to have another one tomorrow, just getting us all caught up. I want to make sure that you tell the people you've sold tickets to and the people who are, sponsors, that we have changed the date until the 25th, but mainly that they need to bring their show proof of vaccination. And if they're not vaccinated, to show proof that they've had a negative test within the last 3 days. And to wear a mask. Now I'm going to buy some masks in case somebody forgets their masks, but we're going to need to wear a mask also. Patty, can you think of anything else we need to say?
That sounds right. We'll probably have more information as we get closer to the event.
Okay. Yes, and Robert Watson is going to play sheriff and make sure that and handle the people at the door coming in. So he wants everybody to do what they're supposed to, so he doesn't have to get rough.
Yes, and we also like Bill Martin and Mac Ragsdale to play sheriff, if you would be willing to do that.
Oh, they would be good. Yes.
Get some money in the till and find people.
Hey, that's an idea.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you hadn't put that thing on.
Okay, an update on our plastic collection. You all know that we made the 500 pounds in record time, yay. And now we have decided on where we're going to place it. We're going to place it in Zilker Park. And it's going to be, we've got the Lions Club fountain. And then we've got a plaque that says what our Lions Club does. And then it will be next to the plaque. So we don't have to worry about getting that information on the plaque that we put on, which will say Austin Lions Club. Austin Founder Lions Club, excuse me. And we have agreed on the color. We're going with green. It's called a forest green. No, it's called a rainforest canopy, fancy name for dark green. And I think it will look really good. And Tommy Cowan has gone to a lot of trouble. He's contacted the Parks and Recreation and got everything all set up. Now we just have to figure out how we're going to mount it and all that. But Tommy is doing that and doing a fabulous job. I don't see Tommy, but thank you, Tommy. Okay.
Gloria, if we could ask, where in the park is it going to go?
By the, have you been to the park to see where the lion fountain is? Our Lions Club fountain?
Yes. Right.
Gaylord, it is in the children's playscape area of Zilker Park. That's
Very
where the
good.
fountain is. There's a fire truck and swing set and several other things there, but it's a children's playscape area.
Sounds like a great location. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. Okay, the next thing on my agenda is discuss the Toys for Dell Children's Medical Center. We're having, our midwinter conference is going to be in Hutto this coming Saturday. And if you have any toys to take, and if you can get them to me by Saturday, before Saturday, I will take them. Otherwise, I've been told we have they're not actually going to distribute the gifts to closer to Easter. So we have plenty of time. But, and I know this is short notice about gathering stuff together, but that's what we're going to do. Well, I have some to take this coming Saturday, but you can still collect gifts and then we'll distribute them at another time. Okay.
And Glenda, you might remind them there's a list of suggested items that's part of the district newsletter attached to the Midwinter Conference registration form. So if somebody's wondering what they could get, there's a suggested list of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. It was, I enjoyed shopping. It was fun. Yes, Mac?
Do these have to be new packaged or can they be hand me down?
No, they want new things.
Okay.
And I think it'd be better not to wrap them so that they know how to distribute them. Don't you think so? It didn't say one way or the
Yeah,
other,
they need to be loose,
but yeah, yeah.
not covered.
Okay, okay. The next thing on the agenda is it's time to look at the nominations for offices and board of directors for the next year. And as per our, as per what how we're supposed to do it, I'm appointing the immediate past president, Rudy Munguia, to be the chairman. And I am appointing the active past presidents to be members of this committee. So Rudy will be contacting you and asking for nominations, and then we will talk to you about nominations. And we need to, then once we get the nominations, the list will be distributed to the members. And on the second meeting in the second meeting in April, we will have the election. And the first meeting in April, we'll be discussing it. Does anybody have any questions on that? So if you know somebody that you want to recommend or to be an officer, please contact one of the past presidents, but Rudy will be giving you more information on that. Rudy, do you have anything to add on that? Yeah.
Yes, hi, thank you, Glenda. I would just like to reemphasize what you just commented on, that all past presidents might be looking for an email from me in the next few days concerning what our Constitution requires us to do for a nominating committee. And so I will be making contact to form this nominating committee and go from there. So just be on the lookout for an email from me, please.
Okay, thank you. And be thinking about someone that you might want to nominate for an officer, to be an officer or a director. Does anybody else have any questions on that before I move on to something else? Okay, the next thing on my agenda, Steve Riley will be sending us a form to record our service hours. Steve, do you want to? Unmute? Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that. I just need to unmute. Glenda, thanks for the time. What I'm trying to do is just wrap our hands around, I'm finally getting access to the portal and I'm learning how to do the portal. So what my plan was to put in the main events that we typically do, but get a form to y'all that you can just easily fill out. I got to work on it, but we got to, where you can basically say, how many hours of service have we done and what activity it was. And then basically, if we can get that back within the next, Glenda, what's reasonable and helpful? 2 weeks before mid-February, or because I can put in the other service hours and just keep rolling it in. So But we're trying to do basically is get July 1 to December 31, 2021. So if we can start with that. So, and if you're on the eyeglass recycling committee, I have the list of members on that. So if there's any committees that can kind of bundle their service hours and send that to me, that saves us a lot of time as well. Does that work? Okay.
I think so. And I think the sooner the better. If
Yeah.
we don't give them a deadline, they, we'll just drag it out. So I
Yeah,
would say-
so I would say by next, ideally next Thursday would be great, which is February 3rd. So, but I have to get you the form, so let me work on doing that. And it may be as simple as I get you the form and you can just reply back to me with a number of hours and what you've done, if that's the easiest way to do it. So I know a couple of people have already done that for us, so.
Okay.
Steve, what about dates? Don't remember dates anymore.
Yeah, I don't think dates are a huge thing, Sandy, and thanks for asking that. The way these portals work is basically we're going to isolate them on projects. So the Trek Recycle project is one, the clay shoot is one, eyeglass recycling is sort of an open-ended thing. If you're doing Meals on Wheels, it's the same thing. So really maybe just give me, if you've done any activities and then what the hours are. And I wouldn't sweat the dates specifically. And, we're not looking to pad numbers or anything else, but we are looking to sort of streamline the process so that it's not too granular. The guidance I've gotten from the district is, we certainly need to be timely, which we haven't been. It's my fault. I apologize, but and certainly accurate as things allow. And if anybody has any other insight that they want to share or share with me offline, I'd love to have that. But Sandy, I do a lot of the eyeglass recycling, sorting, all of that, and I'm counting all of that as service time because it is. So that helps.
Steve or Glenda, a quick question. It is not a service, but an awful lot of time was devoted to our Christmas or our holiday party, particularly by Steve, Beverly, Judy, Mac, myself. Is that considered a service, or is that kind of something we do in-house?
I mean, I'm of the opinion that that event delivered a check to Blue Santa. It delivered the back end of the support we gave to the NFL alumni. So, I mean, I feel like that has a service element, embedded in it, is my opinion. But I'm very new to this, so I'm open to whatever other folks think. So
That's a very good point, Steve. Glenda?
I agree. I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions about that? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's kind of simple. What about attending meetings?
So Sid, what I'm doing is I'm taking the aggregate of members who've been on these Zooms, and I'm literally multiplying that by an hour, which is roughly we spend about an hour's worth of time on these Zooms with the focus element. There's a couple of specific Zoom meetings that I have omitted because there wasn't really a lot of service around it. I might be just extracting. So like the Dr. Seuss one was a wonderful thing. And we had a small element of that meeting that had service to it. So that's kind of the thought I had. But I was instructed that meetings are service hours. We're serving. We're meeting, either in person or, or virtually through Zoom. So
you're going to report on the meetings. We don't have to.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Just want to clarify that.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. What I'm trying to do is offload as much of that off of all of y'all as possible. Really, what I'm trying to find is if there are folks who've been doing projects that I'm not aware of, but there's some substantive service time that we can add to it, that's something that's going to help us more accurately reflect the exertion and effort that we're putting out there. So.
And that would include board meetings as well, I guess, Steve.
Yes, it would. And so, Gaylord, you bring up a great point there. The 5 or 6 board meetings, let's say, that have occurred, I've kind of taken that aggregate and, I'm not exactly one of the secretaries of states of one of these states in terms of counting votes or whatever, but I'm trying my best to get as accurate as I can without slowing our collective roll, as it were. And of course, I had to put in a political joke because I couldn't help myself. But yeah, that's what I had. So.
Steve, I'm proud of you for several reasons, but even more proud that you finally acclimated to full Texanism with your term, all y'all.
Oh, yeah, right. I've been
That's the
here,
epitome.
I've been here 13 and a half years, and I've told all my snobby friends back home that y'all is the most perfect pronoun. And, you know, all y'all back east are missing out. So they are. So
I
that's-
guess
Tell them they're
that-
fixing to get ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another
Excellent.
question, working with Mac on the speakers committee requires an awful lot of time. I assume that time is counted for service as well because of all the work that Mac and others put in to get the speakers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I believe so. And, you know, I'm reading the chat and it does vary on the eyeglass. It does vary from person to person. So what I will do is maybe send an email out to the folks on the eyeglass committee and ask them for their best, you know, for their best recollection, if that's easier. But you're right. I still think that sitting down with Mac or anybody else in that kind of a, in that kind of setting is definitely service. Obviously vision screening and all of those others are service too. So we're just trying to get a, you know, a best and sort of more expedited count so we can get that entered. So the district governor doesn't run after me again.
And Steve, can I send you a statement for all the lunches I've had to buy to talk these people into coming and speaking to us?
You know, in all honesty, I'd say anybody who's had to be nice to me in general in the last 13 years has been extraordinary service. And I don't think we can even count that. The fact that I haven't gotten deported, thrown in jail, or certainly done worse is a service. But I don't know if the district will accept that. So, but yeah, whatever. Send me anything and we can always, you know, refuse it. And
No, I'm teasing. I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, okay. Well, moving on. John Niefler has recommended a book called The Day the World Came to Town by Jim DeFede, D-E-F-E-D-E. And in the book, it talks about Lions Club. John, do you want to just tell a little bit more about that? And he's recommending this book and you can buy it online.
I'll be happy to briefly. This is the account on the days following 9/11/2001, when the airspace in the United States was frozen and all aircraft were required to land. And that was all aircraft leaving the United States and arriving at the United States. And a good number of those, over 50 of those aircraft from all over the world were forced to land in Gander, Newfoundland. And this is the account of what happened to that small town of 12,000 people when there were more than 12,000 passengers on international air travel that landed in Gander and were there for 10 days to 2 weeks before the airspace was opened again. The book is very complimentary of the Lions Club in Gander, Newfoundland, about how they turned to with the rest of the community and received all those visitors, unexpected visitors from all over the world for that period of time, and gave them a place to stay and to live, and clothing and medicine and all those other necessary creature comforts. It's a great read, and it's a great story about Lionism and the services that Lions in Gander, Newfoundland provided to those folks. It's a good read.
Sounds very inspiring. Thank you so much, John. Okay, now it's time for our rose raffle. And Mark, did you have something to say first?
Just real quick let me get back over here to perhaps visitors or members who aren't that familiar with the Lions Fountain at the Zilker Park. That's it right there. That's the fountain. And I assume that the bench will either be on the right or the left side. So just
It's on the other side of the plaque.
okay, so it'll be right in here to the
Mhm.
right of the plaque. Yeah.
Mhm.
So just wanted to show everybody.
Thank you. That does help. Yes.
Thank you, Mark. That's very helpful.
Right. Okay, JP, are you ready to auction off a dozen beautiful roses?
I already.
Everybody see that?
Wait, no, they can't see it.
So
That's-
most of you were on the call last week and know the drill.
Mhm.
I will try to keep my screen at the entire gallery so I can see you scratch your hair and clean your teeth and whatever you do to indicate you want to bid. So be careful. We'll start the bid with $50. Who'll give me 50? Where do I say 50? I said, there's a $50 from Jim Robertson. He doesn't have any hair to scratch, but he gave me a bid. $50. Anybody 75? 75, John Niefler, 75. I need 100. Anybody give me 100? Anybody 100?
100.
Looking for 100. There's 200s. Bill Martin, 200. You can scratch your hair all day long, Bill.
I said 100.
No, you're too late for 100.
No,
All right, I'll take 100. Anybody 100 and a quarter, 100 and a quarter, anybody 100 and a quarter? Need 100 and a quarter, anybody, anybody? Going once, twice. Jim, you gonna let him have it?
Yeah.
Okay, John, you letting him have it?
He's got it.
He's got it. Bill Martin, you bought the $100 dozen roses. Thank you.
thank you.
And I'll let Robert decide and tell you how it's going to be delivered.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Bill, where would you like that delivered to? I can pick them up if you tell me where I can pick them up. Okay, yeah, you can pick them up at.
Hey, y'all can do that offline, can't you?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
there you
talk.
go.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Steve, did you get that, y'all?
Okay, I think it's time to move on to our speaker. And I'm going to be introducing our speaker today. I am thrilled to have as our speaker today, Sara Hale. She's with, she's the director of the, let me get her thing. The executive director at Austin Angels. And I met her, we had a couple weeks ago, we had a casino, we had a Lions Club open house where we invited, there was our club, Austin Founder Lions Club, and 5 other Lions Clubs in Austin. And we met with some other organizations in town and talked about how we could work together. For example, there were three guys there from engineers. Engineers Without Borders for Greater Austin. And there was somebody from Meals on Wheels and from CASA. And our speaker today was there. And I was very impressed with her. And so I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about what she does. And then you can see how, maybe get some ideas of how we could all work together, all the clubs and organizations to continue to help Austin.
Hi, thank you, Glenda. It's so nice to be with you all. Sorry, I was a little bit late. I couldn't find the link to the meeting, but I'm really happy to be here. I wanted to tell you shortly after our meeting, I had never heard about the Leos program until that open house. And yesterday I interviewed an intern and she was a Leo in high school, which I thought was just so cool. She's going to be starting with us tomorrow. Anyway, like she said, my name is Sara Hale. I'm the executive director at Austin Angels, and we are a foster care community nonprofit. I do have a slide deck I'd love to share with you. If I think it's Mark, can you make me a co-host so that I could share my screen?
Yeah, sharing's turned on. You should be able to do that now.
Okay, great. I suppose I should make sure I have it open too. That would help. So my plan was to share this with y'all and then just open it up for questions. Okay, can y'all see that? Let me see if I can make it a full screen. I promise I'm not too technologically challenged, but of course, when it matters. All right, there we have it. So Austin Angels, like I said, we're a foster care nonprofit, and we were born and raised right here in Austin, Texas. And our hope is to empower children and build sustainable foster homes. We enable the community to walk alongside caregivers to give consistent and very radical support to them so that children stay in homes longer and are able to heal and grow. Our hope is to really change the way that children, youth, and families experience foster care by providing this radical support. Our whole mission is to walk alongside children, youth, and families in the foster care community by offering consistent support through intentional giving, relationship building, and mentorship. And we do this through 2 programs, which I'll talk about in a little bit more depth as we get going. Our vision is that every single child and youth that's in foster care would have the opportunity to reach their fullest potential, and that every family who fosters would be radically supported in their journey. At any given time in Central Texas, there's about 4,500 children in foster homes. Obviously, that number fluctuates on a daily basis as children are moved or placements are changed. But our hope is that we are able to help them have healthy, affirming, and lasting relationships through our programs. Let's see if this will work. Ready? Little video. Can you hear it?
This work is so important to us because we believe that every single child should have the opportunity to grow up to reach their fullest potential. We know that children who are in foster care will move so many times in their life. That's several new sets of parents, new sets of friends if they even make them. And every time a child moves, they're 6 months behind from an educational standpoint. That's why kids who grow up in foster care, about half of them will not graduate from high school. And we know that the majority of them will not move on to college, even though in many states, they have a full ride to any state school. They're not going, not because they don't want to go, but because they don't have what every other child has, which is a loving, devoted, caring person that shows up in their life over and over and over and says, I believe in you. I care about you. We have so many incredible foster parents, but the truth is that the majority of foster parents within the first year will close their home because they're not equipped and they're not supported. And that's what makes our program so unique, is that we surround community and intentional support around these families who are doing the hard work. And if we can support them and love on them, they're more likely to keep the child in placement longer, because we believe the first touch point to children that can heal is in a healthy placement. I think when people think of foster care, they think, well, I'm not called to foster and I'm not called to adopt, so I don't know what I can do. But the truth is that every single person can make a difference in a child's life. And every single person can walk alongside a foster family and show up for them. It's the consistency and it's the holistic family support that makes our program so special. It's hard for a child to begin to dream about their future when they live in the now. So if we can make a child feel.
Can y'all see that?
No, we're not seeing the video. We're just seeing your masthead.
Well, that's
I think it opened in a separate window, and that's not the one that's being shared.
okay. Let's try this again.
If you want to close, yeah, there we go. Now we see it. Go ahead and start. Yep.
Feel loved and feel.
Do y'all want to watch it from the beginning? Let me see how long it is.
Seen and validated and heard, then they don't have to worry about needs being unmet. They can now start worrying about my future. And they can now begin to put a game plan together that I've got somebody who's going to be in this with me. I've got somebody who can walk the journey. So now I need to dream bigger. I need to dare to dream about what can I become. We're not interested in putting a Band-Aid on a problem. We want to get to the root. And if we can wrap community around our families and around our children, we know that we have a better opportunity of ensuring that we can beat every statistic and odd that's out there. But this is not just a number. These are children in our community who desperately need just love and attention. An adult that shows up over and over and over and over again that says, I care about you. I care about your dreams. I care about your heart. I care about your schoolwork. And I think we can do better. I think that we can do better.
Okay, that was our mission video, and I'm sorry that you couldn't see the beginning. That was our founder and CEO, Susan Ramirez, who started this back in 2009. Currently nationwide, there's about 424 children in the foster care system. Again, that number fluctuates on a daily basis. Data is also collected with a lag. I mean, we don't know what the numbers for 2021 were and might not for a while, but we do know that in 2019, 251,359 children entered into care nationwide. And of those children, more than 100,000 of them are waiting to be adopted, which just means that their parents have terminated rights or lost rights. So they're in foster care permanently until adoption. So the statistics that face children in care are not good. And this is our hope, that we can change the stats, because a lot of the issues that plague our country have roots in foster care. 50% of the homeless population has spent time in care. Young women in foster care are more than twice as likely than their peers to become pregnant by age 19. Only about half of those who age out of care will obtain a high school diploma. 97% of children in care will not graduate from college, even though that most children in this country have a free ride to a state school as a child who's been in care. Many children in care face PTSD at twice the rate of combat veterans because of the trauma they've experienced. About 25,000 youth between the ages of 18 to 21 age out of foster care every year, which means that they reach a certain point where they're no longer supported by the state or by foster care. So they're essentially out on their own. And the unemployment rate among foster care alumni is 47%. We also know that many human trafficking victims come out of foster care, and prison populations, it's something awful, like 80% of prisoners in the country have spent time in foster care. So our goal at Austin Angels and National Angels is to swim upstream and reach these kiddos with love and support so that we can change these statistics long term. Regarding placement, children in care will move on average 7 times in 2 years. And this is for a number of reasons. Foster parents feeling unsupported, perhaps there was a reunification, maybe it was successful, maybe it failed, but every time a child moves, they're behind 6 months in school and they've got to make new friends, new mommies and daddies. And it's a lot for a child and it causes a lot of trauma mentally. So our approach is community-based. We wrap support around the entire family so that the family feels equipped to lovingly care for the children in care. We also do this so that the children in care don't feel a sense of otherness, like, oh, I'm different than this family. So we support biological kids and children in foster care the same, so that when the parents are supported, they keep children in their placement longer and they're not having to move around. And then it also empowers the parents to that support so that they can continue to do their job well. Anybody parents in here? I'm a parent. It's the hardest job I've ever had in my life. And fostering is also very hard. So any support is really wonderful. This is probably if anyone needs to go potty, but we'll just keep rolling right through. So what is foster care? Well, children are removed from their homes if there is suspect of neglect or abuse in the home. Now, this could be sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. Neglect is essentially exactly what that sounds like, not meeting the needs of a child to the extent that it's devastating or unsafe for that child. So in the case of this, a child may be removed from their home. The children that are removed from homes often have experienced a lot of trauma. This, neglect, when we think of the word neglect, this could be not eating. This could be not having clean clothing or a clean place to live. This could be a 3-year-old being on their own. It really depends. But because of these situations, the children often have a lot going on in their behavior or their health because of these situations. So the children that we serve just often need a lot of extra attention and love. So how can you make an impact? How do we enable this community to help? Well, we have our 2 programs, the Love Box and Dare to Dream. So the Love Box program is the way that we enable the community to support families through the intentional giving, relationship building, and mentorship. We'll match a volunteer up with the family that's fostering, and essentially they create a relationship between the 2 of them. Volunteers meet practical everyday needs and build relationships with the families and youth they serve. It's kind of like that auntie, that favorite auntie that comes over once a month, and maybe you're bringing toilet paper and laundry soap for the family, or maybe you're playing games with the kids or helping with homework or sitting down for coffee with mom and dad and just listening as they talk about their life. The Love Box program is designed to be very personal and to meet the needs of the family. Every family has different needs. Some struggle financially and some struggle emotionally. Either way, we've set up the program so that those specific needs can be met by a volunteer in the community. It's a 1-year commitment with an agreement to meet at least once a month. Our Dare to Dream program is for youth ages 11 to 22, and this is our mentorship program. A mentor is matched with a youth, and they walk alongside the youth, meeting twice a month for at least a year, and help the youth with goals they have or needs. This might be learning how to cook food for themselves, or how do I open a bank account and what does that look like, or how do I apply for college, or what does my career look like after foster care. It's really youth-led, and so we try to match mentors up with youth of likeness. In a sense, what I mean is we have one match that's a woman who's in her mid-20s and she's in nursing school, and she got matched with a youth who also wanted to be a nurse. So together they're studying and working together on that nursing program. So the main goals of our program are to provide support for caregivers, nurturing that environment, to increase normalcy for kiddos. Normalcy really helps with that healing process for them. The stability of being in the same home also helps a lot. And then relational permanency, providing that consistent, healthy, loving adult in their lives. It really helps for children who've had a lot of loss to create trust again and to feel safe again. It's so powerful to see how a brain can heal and how trust can be built again when a child has a consistent, loving adult in their life. Seems like a really simple thing, but unfortunately, there's a lot of children in this country who don't get that. The Love Box itself, as I mentioned, is a key component, and this is a physical box as you're seeing on the screen, and we have them, and it might be full of goodies for the family. But again, the Love Box might just be showing up and visiting and being an emotional support for the family. Whatever the gifting is, it's intentional. Volunteers know the ages of the kids in the home, whether they're into sports or art or reading, and that relationship is developed with intention. Authentic connection is a cornerstone of our programs, and that relationship building is just a huge piece. I always say that the box is just a conduit to the relationship. It just gets you in the door so that you can really get to know the family, connect with them, build a friendship, help with attachment. It's a big, big piece of what we do. And then mentorship. This is, again, building that strong relationship, listening actively, guiding milestones for youth, learning interests and cultivating those interests. We have one youth that just was really into Japanese culture. And so her mentor took her to an anime convention, and then they went and got ramen after. And it was just being that person who could guide their interests and show them normal experiences around what they were already into. So a little more about the Love Box program. We've talked quite a bit about it. I've talked quite a bit about it, but it is specific to one family. And the volunteer, again, is matched. We consider how far apart they live. We want to make sure it's easy for both parties to get together. And it's a once a month commitment for the year. Most of these relationships last far beyond the year. We have one volunteer and family that have been together going on 5 years. And it's just that they've developed this sweet relationship and now they're lifelong friends. The idea is that through these pillars of intentional giving, relationship building, and mentorship, that the entire household, the whole family, is served well. The child or youth thrives, develops resiliency, experiences permanence, that caregivers are supported and just know that they're not in this alone, and it develops community. Love Box has lots of different components, and again, it's not about the stuff. It's really about providing that intentional support for the family. I was a Love Box leader with my husband, and we have little kids, and the family we were matched with also had little kids. And so we would get together and barbecue. They got a new baby in their home, so we got them a swing. It was just really sweet to see how natural the relationship became. But without us, without the Love Box program, they would have just been doing that alone. And it blows my mind because I have lots of siblings and lots of support around me, but not everybody has that kind of support. And we just really believe that everyone deserves it and should have it. Just more cute graphics about all the things you can do in a Love Box. Our Dare to Dream mentorship program is our second program. A few more details about it. One mentor for one youth. This is not a group program like the Love Box is. This is just specific care for one youth. And the youth guides the milestones. The youth lets the mentor know, this is what I'm into. How can you help me learn about it? How can you support me in this journey? This program is just really special. I know there's other programs that provide mentorship, like Big Brothers Big Sisters does mentoring, and there's a couple other nationwide that are just amazing. I'm here for all the mentorship programs. Ours is unique in that it targets youth in foster care to help them into adulthood, to help them live independently, and to give them the tools they need so that they don't become one of those statistics. They don't become homeless, and they're not entering the prison system because they have nowhere else to go. That's the whole goal, is to reach this specific population and help them to thrive and be independent. Through this program, we also initiate intentional giving, relationship building, and mentorship. Every once in a while, we make an exception and we'll serve youth that have already aged out of care, because we just really want youth to be independent, functioning adults. And again, the whole goal is that the youth can thrive with relational permanence, develop resiliency, and increase family connectedness. The community gets engaged through these volunteers, and over time, we're changing those stats. Our society as a whole becomes more hopeful and more sustainable. Just a couple examples of milestones that are in our Dare to Dream program. Learning how to cook, getting a driver's license. You'd be amazed at how many children in foster care just don't have access to a vehicle to learn, and what a state of independence it is to have a driver's license and be able to drive yourself to a job or to school. Healthy relationships, post-graduation plans, learning to cook, just a couple of the milestones that we help youth with. So ways to get involved for the community. Financial gifts are always welcome. Our organization is 100% community funded, meaning we don't have government support. Most of our giving comes from individual donors, and we also apply for grants and corporate sponsorship throughout the year. We do have corporate partners that help us in kind or through financial giving. Some have employee match programs where if an employee makes a donation, the employer will match. So corporate partnerships are a great way to get involved with us. I also sometimes do speaking events for corporations, and we'll get together and like make a love box for a family or get to know one of the families in our programs as a team. Volunteers and mentors are always needed for our Love Box and Dare to Dream programs. We have a great team of case managers that work hard to make really good matches so that they're sustainable long-term. And then our Angel Alliance program is a monthly donor group. It's a community of dedicated givers that just set up to deduct monthly a donation into our programs. Here's ways you can follow our work. We do have a website, austinangels.com, tons of videos, tons of impact. We interview families and volunteers regularly so that the community can see the impact that's being made. We have a Facebook page, and then we have an Instagram page. Again, we love to share the impact being made with our community. And a lot of times it'll be in one of these 3 ways. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. And I would be happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. Yeah, feel free to just shout them out.
So if you're muted, she can't hear you if you try to
I
ask.
hear
a
you.
question. Okay.
This is
How many
Gaylord. I have a
children?
question. I didn't know who was in charge, but give us kind of the practical way in which Austin Angels work. What I mean by that is, let's say that I decided I wanted to become a foster parent and was approved for such. How would you discover me, and how would the relationship be developed, and what would happen?
Sure. We have a relationship with the state. So any placement agency can refer their families to us. So any licensed foster home is eligible to be in our programs. So we have that way that you can be referred to us. Also, we have a self-referral program. So if you're a foster parent, you can go on our website and say, hey, I'm fostering and I need support from Austin Angels. And then our case managers will get in touch with you. Also, if you know of a neighbor or a friend or a classmate who is fostering and you want to refer them to our program, you can do it there as well.
That's very workable, and thank you. I just wondered practically how you did it.
Yeah.
And yours is a very moving and very special presentation, Susan, and thank you. And this is a little bit in the weeds, I guess, and I've been involved as a lawyer from a distance, but I'm wondering what effect, if any, the extended litigation over many years now of the federal government's lawsuit, or the lawsuits being brought against the state for the failure of the foster program, is affecting Austin Angels, or how it is, if at all, and hopefully it's not, but it's very, very complicated and very extended litigation where the federal courts are continuing to say the state is not doing enough financially or in quality, et cetera. And is that having an effect on Austin Angels?
You know, I can't speak to that too much because we have not been really affected by it. Because we are not a government funded organization, we operate independently. We know that foster care is messy. You often hear how broken it is. It's a very complicated system. The heart behind it, obviously, is to keep children safe and keep families together. And we want the same. We want children to be safe and have permanent placement as well. We're currently being researched by the UT School of Social Work, and they are putting research and numbers to the efficacy of our programs. And, you know, long-term hope is that the state would acknowledge and recognize us to the extent that every foster family has Austin Angels support. Now that's a little bit down the road, but that is our vision, because we believe that these programs will change the scape of foster care.
We'll keep that vision, and I'm so glad this extended litigation. I'm glad to learn that's not affecting you. thank you again for your wonderful presentation and the marvelous work you're doing, Susan.
Thank you.
John, I think you had your hand up. John Niefler.
Yes, thank you very much. I think Gaylord asked some questions about Judge Janice Jack's decisions in opposition to Texas Child Protective Services. And the fact that the state of Texas doesn't even know where all the children are that are fostered in foster care. And some Texas sends many of their children out of state to other locations. And so I think all of us are interested in what Judge Jack has done in fining the state of Texas for failure to perform. And the question would be, do you receive young people from the state system, even though you are not a state-funded organization? To the young people that you deal with, have they also been under the care of the Child Protective Services of the state of Texas?
We support licensed foster families. We also support kinship placement families. So we have an agreement with the state of Texas to essentially work with placement agencies. We do not place children. We will serve the families that are caring for children in care. I don't know if that fully answers your question, but obviously we all know that we cannot rely on the government to make foster care better, because they're not doing a great job of that. But what we can do is, as a community, we can band together and make the experience better for the kids.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Sid, did you have your hand up?
That's okay. Let Ann go.
Okay.
Mine's a simple question.
Sarah, this is Ann Ward. I met you the other night. Thank you for being here today. My question is, in the video, it looked like your mentors and the people doing the love box are more like peers of the families that do the foster care. Would if someone at our age wanted to participate, we would be more like the grandmother or something? And I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you have volunteers of varying ages? Or, I mean, I don't know that a kid would relate to somebody my age. They probably would relate better to somebody younger, but just curious.
We have all ages in our programs as mentors and as love box leaders. There is just, our case managers do a beautiful job matching needs of families with the desires of the volunteers. And there's no, I mean, you tell me what you want to give and I'm going to find a foster family that needs you. There's zero limitation to how this community can help our programs. And I should actually link you. We've got a sweet couple, Gail and Jerry, they're grandparents and they're love box leaders for a family with some real wild little ones. And they shared our story with us. I should link y'all to our impact page, because you'll get to see so many opportunities. Everybody in this community has something to give to support a child in care. And we're definitely going to connect you.
Okay, thank you.
Mac, you had your hand up, Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you vet out your volunteers?
All volunteers go through a background check, and our mentor volunteers also have more extensive checking. So they have fingerprinting that they do. And we go through very reputable, I forget the name of the company, but it's like the highest standard of background checking. We don't ever match up a family without doing extensive checking on the family. We also have reference checks for our mentors, and they have to put down personal and professional references that we call and check in on and make sure that they'd be a good match for the youth.
JP?
Yeah, Sarah, again, repeating what Ann said, I was on the call last Tuesday also, and I'm glad to see you again, and very glad that you're making this presentation to our group. One of the core values and projects of Lions Clubs International is related to children. So we're very very involved with that as well as screening vision for those same level of children. My question is, may not be in your purview, but do you know of any statistics that give us some guidance as to the percentage of foster children who are actually adopted and successfully blended into a adoption family from foster care?
I don't have that statistic. I do know that within our programs last year, we celebrated, I think it was 42 adoptions just within our programs. And we're just kind of gathering last year's data right now. We have 504 children served monthly in our Love Box program here in Central Texas and 175 youth in our Dare to Dream program. So I'm not sure how many families that accounts for, but 42 adoptions happened just within the Austin Angels group last year.
And I presume you think that's a good number or consider that to be a successful number. Then I think that's very good.
Well, it's funny because foster care is just complicated. I mean, an adoption is a great victory for the child and for the family. And it also means a loss for another parent. I think that it is incredible anytime a family says yes to a permanent placement for a child. I think that is, whether it's one or whether it's 600, I think that's incredible. So I guess, yes, I think that is really good.
Ellen Ford.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you for talking to us. We have a couple of good friends who have had a lot of experience over the years as court-appointed special advocates, as CASAs. And I wondered if, because it sounds like some of them have become very involved, almost the extent of being like mentors. Is there an overlap there, or is there a reason that there should be some kind of a fence between the kind of relationships that you people have and then the legal responsibilities of a CASA? Do the CASA people ever get involved as volunteers with you or vice versa?
Yeah, we've actually had some people leave CASA to come with us and some people leave us to go to CASA because it's really just a different type of care for the family. You know, a CASA gets deep in the weeds of the paperwork and court hearings, and they are the advocate in the court system for the child. Our programs are really meant to develop that relationship with the child, with the family. So I see need for both. I think CASA is an incredible program also.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sam, I saw your hand.
Yes. I have a good story for you. And I think you said that the adoption program is complicated, and it really is. The state agency, my nephew went through that process about 15, I forgot how many years ago, or three, and picked up a 3-year-old child. And so took Hannah with them, and they started bringing up. Finally, they adopted her, and now Hannah's about to go to college and graduate. Well, I mean, she's graduated from high school, going into college. But Jada, her sister, was also in foster care. And what happened was that Bryant felt kind of bad because they took Hannah, but they couldn't take a second child. So my sister-in-law, Gloria, took the second child, Jada. Jada now has got a scholarship to go to the University of San Antonio, University of Texas, San Antonio. So they were able to keep them together. And it is complex because that could happen where you can take one and leave the other one and make it very, very difficult. And so thank goodness that they were able to see each other through the whole process of growing up. So it is a fantastic story.
That is really awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know your name, Heart Song. It's lovely.
Sorry. First, I want to thank you for your program and everything that you do in your presentation. And I was just kind of wondering on the side if there's any fostering agency that you might be able to recommend as being maybe especially easy to work with.
You know, I have a staff member who went through Angel Heart. She's a foster mama, and I've heard good things about that. But experientially, I don't know what to tell you because this is just an opinion because of what I've heard.
Okay, well, that's a place to start. I haven't heard of Angel Heart. I don't think
There's like 7, I think, that are right here in the Central Texas area. And we cover a wide area. We're Waco all the way through San Marcos. So it's a pretty big space.
Okay, well, I know my daughter and her husband were trying to foster to adopt, and the agency they were with kept having so many delays. I think they were having a lot of issues within their own agency, and finally they kept delaying them so much that they ended up changing their mind, unfortunately.
Well, it unfortunately happens, but there's no shortage of need. So I would encourage them to just hop on over to another one and keep going.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. It's been great.
Thank you.
I have a question. Sarah, first of all, yes, I'll agree with everybody here. Your presentation was really outstanding. How many staff members do you have working with Austin Heart?
So here in Austin, we have 13 staff members, and this really amazing thing happened with our organization. Back in 2018, our founder, Susan, who you heard from in the video, got on a couple of podcasts that went nationwide, and we started getting phone calls. Hi, I'm in Seattle. We need the Angel program. Hi, I'm in Chicago. We need the Angel program. And so we were faced with this opportunity. Can we do this? Can we duplicate our programs? And so we experimented with the sweet woman in Amarillo. In 2018, Amarillo Angels was born, and we figured out we can do this. We can duplicate the program. The community locally can run it. It'll be great. So since then, we've opened 21 other chapters. Wow. So out of Austin Angels, National Angels was born. And now we've got kids all over the country in our programs. And, you know, I got so excited to tell you about that. I forgot your question. So I don't even know.
I'm glad you told us about that, because we would not have known that you're nationwide and that you have a national organization. So my question was very simple. How many people in Austin do you have on your staff?
This is why, because we've got 13 here, and then we've scooted over 6 to our National Angels. So we all still work together here in Austin, but technically we've got 13 at Austin Angels and 6 at National Angels.
Thank you.
I have a question, Glenda Summers. Do you have fundraisers and things like that to help also? Or do you just rely on corporate sponsors? And what are the many ways that you do get funding?
Yeah, we used to have some really great fundraisers. Thanks, COVID. We, had to pivot just like everyone else. We used to do a big gala in the fall. We had a fun run. And we're going to try to start this year getting back into that. But we do a 3-day give-a-thon in the winter that coincides with Giving Tuesday, where we just reach out to the community and ask them to support. We're participating in Amplify Austin, great opportunity for peer-to-peer support there. And, that's just a great event for all of Austin nonprofits. And we're hopeful to have an event in May called the Food Fight. Still working out details on that, but we're hopeful. It'll be on our website if we can do it. We want to be so cautious with how things have been going, and just dying to get back together, but want to do it safely.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I know we're kind of over time. I don't want to keep y'all.
Just wondering, if someone were interested in adoption, which is easier, domestic adoption or foreign adoption?
I have no idea. I am not sure how to answer because I don't have experience with international adoption. And I know that in our country, you can adopt privately or you can adopt through foster care. So there's just a lot of different pieces to that.
Mark, do you have any response to that?
We adopted our daughter 20 years ago from Guatemala, And
Mhm.
things have changed quite a bit, so I couldn't really talk too much about how it is right now. It is more difficult these days for international adoption.
Sam?
Hey, Mark, I got a comment. Yes, my daughter in Denver, Colorado, went for doctors across borders in Russia, and they wind up getting a child from Russia, from Kazakhstan. And she's now 28, 29 years old. It cost them over $50,000 finally, in about 10 years of lawyers and so on, to finally get it approved. I mean, it was very, very expensive to get Ali to stay here and do that. It's amazing. I mean, it's difficult, the international, but it was about $50,000 they had to pay in about 10 years.
Wow.
Well, listen, I know we could just go on and ask questions all day because this has been so very, very interesting. And perhaps we'll have you back another time. But meanwhile, we're going to have to adjourn because our time is up. So all I can say is, is that this has been very informative and we appreciate your time so very much. It was great to hear about your program.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you giving me the time, and thanks for caring about kids in foster care.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again. Well, I'm going to talk, Anne, could you just tell us a little bit about next week's program?
Yes. Our program next week is going to be Dr. Jay Banner. He is a professor at the University of Texas in the geoscience area. He's an endowed professor, and unfortunately, I have not received any information from him yet. But what I heard him talk about was drought and water issues in Texas. And that is what I have asked him to speak about next week, is to talk to us. He's done a lot of research related to looking at trees and reconstructing how many droughts our state has faced and when, and how frequently. And it's a bit concerning that our state water plan is based on, it goes back maybe like say 100 years or 150 years or something like that. And there have been some really substantial droughts prior to that. So I think it's going to be a very interesting program, and I think we're going to learn a lot.
Thank you, Anne. Just want to review a couple of dates on our calendar. That Midwinter Conference is Saturday. Remember, the casino night is February the 25th. We're going to box roses on March the 23rd and deliver roses on March the 24th. And did I get this wrong again, or is our Lions Camp work day April 22nd, or did you say it was the 2nd?
It's April the 2nd.
Okay.
It's my birthday.
Okay, April the 2nd. Okay, I'm sorry, people. We got it right this time. Well,
Glenda, do we have Rose Order forms out posted yet?
they're on the website.
Yeah, well, Anne has made the form. It'll be up on the website soon.
Okay.
Great.
And we're going to have some printed, and we're going to have a little booth at our casino night, hopefully. And maybe some of the people that come to casino night will want to order some roses.
Yes. Well, this has been I've really enjoyed this program, and all the things we've discussed here. I think it's wonderful that we're getting involved in everything that we are doing. And I really appreciate all your hard work. And all I can say is thank you, everybody. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Have a good week, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you.